Everybody knows about Botox, right?
Yeah.
So, new product out. In fact, I want to thank Michaela, who is a scrub tech at the hospital, well, actually the surgeon center I work out, because she actually put me onto this. I'd never even heard of this, so thank you, Michaela, if you're watching. She sent me a link to a new product called Daxxify.
Okay.
Daxxify. Supposed to be the next Botox killer. Yeah, there it is. Daxxify versus Botox in the ring.
Fancy.
So, Botox is far and away the industry leader in wrinkle reduction. Sarah, how do you like your Botox now? You've had it for a while.
It's good.
Your forehead looks amazing.
Thank you.
Looks very youthful. And I always say that Botox is like really low-hanging fruit for people that want to stay looking young.
Yes.
I probably should start doing it myself. Travis, maybe you and I can start Botoxing together. What do you think, buddy?
Okay.
You're younger than me, though. You probably don't need it yet.
I mean, maybe. I'll get more information from you, and then we'll see.
And we'll talk about it.
Yes,
Okay, all right,
we'll
man.
see.
So with Botox being the industry leader and being so successful, we now have a bunch of competitors.
Right.
And I think we even did a segment on the Botox competitors. There's Dysport, Zeman, Jeuveau. There's one called MyoBlock, which I wasn't familiar with. And
I've
now
heard of
there's the new one called Daxxify.
Yeah, I heard of the first one that you said.
Dysport.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's probably the second most popular, I believe. And I've actually used a lot of these competitor. I know I've used Dysport, Zeman, and Jeuveau. And I have to say, I mean, no offense to those companies, I prefer the Botox. I mean, part of its brand name. I mean, everyone's heard of Botox, and so there is some value to having that brand name, you know, behind a product. And also, just personally, I feel like Botox works the best. I think that is up for debate, but I just feel like Botox works.
I feel like most of the people don't, when they think Botox, they don't think of a brand. They just think of the actual action.
A product, yeah.
The action of
Right,
getting.
I'm getting Botox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know that the name of the
Yeah.
actual.
I mean, you might be right.
The actual medicine that you're putting into your
Yeah.
forehead is
They
Botox.
think of it more as like an action or a verb.
Yeah,
than
like
a product,
just like
yeah.
saying, I'm gonna go get.
Yeah, I know
a
some
breast
people
lift.
do. Yeah, right. Some people do recognize Botox. Do we occasionally people ask like which Botox do you use? We're like, we use Botox. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also there's the most research behind it. You know, but Botox has more research behind it showing its effectiveness than anything. And like I said, I just had very dependable results with it. And some of the other products, I'm not going to say which ones, but I've had a couple that I just have been not as happy as far as the effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there's a new one called Daxxify, and at first when I saw this new product, I'm like, oh great, another Botox competitor, big whoop. But this one actually is different.
Okay.
There's actually some very interesting things about this that I'm going to look into. I'm not for sure saying I'm going to use it. It's basically the same product. It is a botulinum toxin derivative.
Okay.
But it does have a unique formulation which gives it some advantages.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a Botox killer, but it does have some interesting things. So it claims to last 6 to 9 months. That's pretty good. I mean, when I counsel people about Botox, I say if you've never had Botox, you can expect probably 3 months out of it. But the more you use it, the longer it lasts. And so we do my wife's Botox about twice a year. So, you know, I think you can get close to 6 months out of Botox, but only if you're using it regularly. Mm-hmm. This one that says it lasts 6 to 9 months. Now, that should always be a good thing. I will say that if on the off chance that you got a result you didn't want, like a droopy eyelid or something like that, then you would have to wait longer.
Yeah.
To me, that's really a non-factor because as long as you're going to someone that's skilled,
That shouldn't happen.
it shouldn't happen. I mean, you know, the number of people I have coming back with problems with Botox is 0%.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my injectors. So now I have injectors working for me. I'm like, look, I get when you're first starting out, you're probably gonna have some bumps, but like once you get the hang of this is very predictable, dependable, and you shouldn't have problems. So that whole thing about, oh, well, it lasting longer is bad to me is not real. They do say it has a quicker onset of action. How many days did it take until you thought your Botox was, at least you could see it was working? This is a great question.
5 days.
About 5 days, okay. I would say that's maybe a day later. I usually tell people you can start to see it in 3 to 4 days, and it takes about 5 to 6 before it hits full steam. But I mean, that's kind of right about what you had. With Daxxify, they say it starts to take effect in 2 to 3 days. Okay,
Oh.
so it starts to work a little bit quicker. I mean, that's to me, that's kind of not a huge thing because like, okay, what's the difference in 1 or 2 days?
Yeah.
Big deal. This one though is actually really, really interesting. You can store Daxxify at room temperature. You probably don't know this, but Botox has to be refrigerated.
Okay.
So we have a fridge in our office and all the Botox lives in the fridge. The problem with having it needing to be refrigerated is if you leave it out and like say you mix up a vial and you draw 20 units out of a 100 unit vial and you set it on the counter and then you forget it and you leave it overnight, it's done.
Yeah.
Like you can literally lose product, and I'm convinced that that happens in places out there where someone leaves out the Botox and they're like, well, we're not going to lose $800, and they just use it anyway, and then people get results that are not great.
Ugh.
So the ability to keep it at room temperature, I think, is actually pretty beneficial.
Yeah, that's nice.
You know, it's a way to eliminate one variable that can cause problems.
Maybe we'll have more traveling Botoxes.
Right, yeah, and so that's the thing when people, and I used to
parties.
I used to do Botox parties. Back when I started out and I was like a brand new plastic surgeon, man, you'd believe it. I was going to people's houses to do Botox because you'll do anything to drum up business, right? But you have to like have your cooler and you have to have the Botox on ice. And, you know, there's always a chance that something happens and your Botox goes bad. So obviously the next big question for me is, okay, well, what's the cost?
Yep.
So it is more expensive than Botox, but they say it lasts longer. So these are, I think these numbers were from the Daxxify people because they were saying that, oh, if you use Botox, you have to get it 4 times a year. And I'm like, no. I mean, if you're doing Botox regularly, like 2, maybe 2.5. And they're saying $400 per injection, which is about right for a full Botox. So they're saying for Botox 4 times a year, $400, that's $1,600. With Daxxify, it's $600 per time, so it's 50% more cost, but they're saying you only have to get it twice a year, which would be $1,200. I have a little bit of issue with those numbers because they're kind of shortchanging Botox and how long it lasts, I think, a bit.
Yeah.
So I would say that probably it's a wash, I would guess. I would bet you if you really dig into, you know, if you got both these products over 5 years, how much it would cost if you did Botox, how much it would cost if you get Daxxify, it's probably going to be pretty equal.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that this is going to be a Botox killer. I'm interested in it. Honestly, like to me, the 6 to 9 months, I mean, that's nice. It's lasts a little longer, but being able to store it at room temperature is interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so.
It just eliminates a variable, right? You know, when you're running a business and you have a lot of people dealing with product, I mean, you know, accidents happen, people leave stuff out, and I mean, just like a month or 2 ago, we came into the office one morning and there was a half-used thing of Botox sitting on the counter, like, okay, well, into the trash it goes, and then you have to figure out, okay, who left out the Botox, and
fired. I'm just kidding.
What's that?
I said fired.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, it's like, look, you know, we just lost like $500, right? I mean,
yeah.
Is it the end of the world? No, but I mean, we can't do that commonly. But yeah, I am interested in Daxxify. I probably will have my ops manager look into it and see if it's something that we maybe would try. Normally when these new products come out, you can do a trial run with it. So I probably will try it, honestly. Check it out.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, maybe it's better, maybe it's not.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, a new thing, let's go do it, let's try it.
Yeah,
you know?
Probably. I know a lot of places are like that.
Yeah, and then you have a clientele. You probably know exactly some of the people that would want to try it just because it's new and
see if they like it better. Yeah, I'm interested in it because it has, you know, with the other products out there, I never felt like Dysport, Zimage, Jeuveau. I never felt like they were that different. They were almost identical. They would say, oh, well, maybe it lasts a tiny bit longer or whatever. But nothing really of note to me. It was just like, oh, you're just a Botox competitor. If it's the same price, why would I?
So you think this one has the possibility of actually competing with Botox?
I do. I think it could. I absolutely think it could compete with it. I do. You know, because it has some advantages that the other Botox knockoffs don't have. So I think it could compete. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna reach out.
It has a cool name.
What is it? I keep Daxxify. They call it Daxi for short.
Oh,
it has like a short name, Daxi. I don't know if I like that, Daxi.
Dax Shepard.
I don't hate it.
What?
Daxi. What do you think?
It just reminds me of Dax Shepard.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right. I think that's all the time we got for this episode of Nip Talk. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please leave us a comment and let us know what you want us to talk about on the next episode. See you next week.
Bye.